With the new Forms experience, Forms directly integrates with your SharePoint list or Microsoft list. So the users can fill out the data into your forms and which goes directly into your SharePoint list or Microsoft list. Let's see how to do that. So let's start by creating a new list first. Now you can create a list in Microsoft Lists or you can create a list in SharePoint as well. So the new form experience will actually work for both in Microsoft Lists and in your SharePoint list. So let's just say I go to lists and I want to create a new list. I'll create a blank list and I want to name it, let's just say survey, right? We'll leave the description blank, but you can fill it in. And I want to save this list in my SharePoint site, which is called demo. I can save it in my list as well, which is SharePoint list, right? So let's just say we want to save it in demo, which is a SharePoint list, and I want to create it. So it's actually creating a list. So list has been created. If I go to demo, I can see that the list would be there as well, which is it's not there yet, but it should be there. That's survey, right? So the list has been created. But what I'm trying to say is we don't have to create a list using lists. We can actually create a normal SharePoint list as well, and the new experience will work in both. So we'll go to survey in Microsoft List. Okay. And at the top, you will see that there is actually a forms option which actually appears. So right now you haven't yet created any columns, but if you want to create any columns, you're more than welcome to do that. So for example, if I want to create a column called employee name, I will select it as a person, click next, and I will create a new column. Let's just say employee name, and right, that's about it. So we'll just save it. Okay. So you can have your columns, but for forms, when you click on forms, right, this is where the fun starts. You click on forms and then you click on new form, then you can actually customize your form. So it will give you all of the columns that you have created in your list, so which are already there, but you can also add new fields to this form, right? Whatever you add to this form will actually be added as columns in your list. So I want to add, because this is a survey form, so I want to add another field. Let's just say the start date for the employee, right? So I want to call it start date, and that's a date and time field, and that's done, right? Add a new field. So it's now going to add that into my list as well. So let me just close this one for a minute, and you will see that the start date has been added. Okay. So I go to forms again and I click on this form, which I haven't saved yet. So let's give it a title first, right? I want to call this employee satisfaction survey, for example, right? Survey form 2024, right? And I want to add some new fields as well. So I can add a single text line, choice, number, date and time, multi line text, yes, no, person, hyperlink, currency, right? So we have a limited choices, but actually it's fair enough to capture, within the surveys or within the forms, so it's a good number of types of fields that we actually get, right? So let's just say we want to add a choice field, and we want to say how would you rate your experience, right? So I'm just trying to add this so that you get an idea of what you can actually add there, type of field. So we have a choice field, so we just say good, and obviously once you add all of these values, right? So we have added these different values here. You can obviously, as any list, you can change the colors as well, and if you click on these little dots, you'll actually get to the settings as well. So within the settings, you can add, it's like a normal list kind of formatting that you can actually do. So you can click on these options if the user can add these fields manually, default values, and more options like make it mandatory columns and drop downs, and so you're getting an idea, right? So this is the list experience with the form, right? So you've added these forms, you've added this, and you obviously can add some new fields as well, right? So let's just say add a number field, for example, or you can add a multi-text line, right? So let's just say what's your age, for example, right? That's not a good question to ask in a survey, but just an example, and we've done that, right? So the fields has been added. Now once you have done that, let's just give it some text as well. This is about the employee satisfaction survey, right? That's the title of your some description about your survey, right? So you've done that, and from your right hand side, right, you can also untick what you don't want to display on the form. So for example, I don't want to display the title field, so I can just tick it off. And also you can actually move these fields up and down. So if I want to drag it to the second position, I can change these ones there, right? And you can do the same from this field, from your right hand side as well. So you can move your fields around, you can hide and show what you want to display on the form. And if you click on themes, you have different themes, so that's kind of gives you the different colors, backgrounds. You can create your own style, so you can choose, you know, that's the background color you want, and that's the kind of a theme color you want, so you can change these different colors. There are some limited options, but hopefully I think Microsoft will, you know, add more options for you in the future. And then you have the settings option, where you can basically say, you know, you don't want to accept any responses now, and when you click that, it says we are not accepting responses at the moment, right? So I'm going to quickly show you how that actually looks like, right? So right now we are going to accept the responses. So we have done our form. So form looks great, right? The form is automatically saved. We can click on the preview, which will give us a preview of how the form actually looks like when it is sent to the people. Now you can actually share this form to anyone within your organization, right? And the only people who have edit access to your list will be able to see the forms option and basically modify this form. But if when it comes to sharing your form, all you need to do is click on forms and come to the form itself, copy that link, and you just send this link in an email, in a chat message, or maybe put this link on your website, on your SharePoint homepage, and people can just access this link. And when they open this link, right? So let's just say I'm going to click new window, and I'm just going to paste that link. So this is what they are going to see. They won't know which list is actually coming out. They won't see the list itself. They'll just see the form, and they basically enter their responses. So let's just say we add this employee name. I'm going to put my name there, start date, nice calendar view. What's your age? Let's just say 24, and you submit it, and it's going to display a message. Thank you for submitting your response, right? If I go back to my list again, so let me just refresh the list, and there you go, right? That's the response that your users have entered into the survey form, right? So they won't see the list. They won't have access to the list. Even if you make any fields, any columns mandatory, for example, employee is a mandatory field, and it's actually and the employee, and it's not visible on the form. It doesn't matter. It still submits the form, but within the list backend, you will see that some column is missing the values. But the end user, the user experience is great. They won't see anything. Okay, so that's great. Now, once you have enough responses and you want to stop taking the responses, you can basically just click on these three dots, edit the form. You can go to settings and toggle this message that you're not accepting any messages, or you can basically also click on forms, click on these three dots, and you can say stop accepting responses, right? You can create multiple copies of the same form, right? So you probably want to send a link to your one set of audience, maybe another set of link to another set of audience with more columns and values coming from the same list. You can do that, right? So let's just say stop accepting responses. We do that, and then when you send this link to someone, so I'm just gonna paste this link again, so they will see that we are not accepting responses at the moment, so it's closed off, right? Now that's a great way, right? So your users won't see that. Now we basically created this in Microsoft lists, right? Let's go back to a SharePoint site, right? So I already have some SharePoint lists created earlier. So these are the pure SharePoint lists, right? And within a SharePoint list, I see this forms option again, right? So if I click on these forms and create a new form, there you go, right? I have these different fields coming in from my forms, right? So I can create a form there as well. So the new form experience basically works with the SharePoint list and Microsoft lists as well. So it kind of works with modern lists, right? So which is great. All right, that's it for today. I hope you learned something new today. Try the new forms experience to capture all the data through the forms into your SharePoint or Microsoft lists. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, please like the video. If you have any comments, put them in the comment box, and I hope to see you again. Thank you for watching.